Okay, so this video is going to be a little bit different. It's more of a rant annoyance that I have seen a lot. And I'm going to be talking about what this is and 2 examples of it. Basically, a lot of artists out there put a lot of free content to help you learn to draw and improve your skills and teach you all these techniques and stuff. And a lot of them do it for free. And every now and then, a group of people will get so offended by a very harmless tutorial or graphic and absolutely flip out, and these artists will get some serious threats and all sorts of harassment, and it's just ridiculous. And it happened recently again, and it just really irked me, so I wanted to make a video about it. So the first time it happened was from a wonderful Japanese artist, Manga Materials, on Twitter, of course. And they took time to take all of their Japanese tutorials of how to draw certain things and translate them to English for free. Was just trying to be helpful, all this stuff. And someone who helped with the translation used the term beginners and how beginners versus professionals, or whatever you want to call it, I'll put the image up here too, how their lines look versus professionals. And there is nothing wrong with it. It's true. It is very, very true. Beginners tend to have sketchier lines, or if you're not as confident and not sure what you're doing, you'll have sketchier lines, which is what you can actually see in the video here. I had no idea how to draw the hands I was drawing, so they look a little sloppy, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, if I was familiar with the hand poses, it wouldn't be so sketchy. The more I would do it, the easier it would be, and the less sloppy it would look. Well, apparently this was really offensive to people. I think it's a woman who does Manga Materials. I'm not sure, but they received a ton of threats. They were harassed, so they stopped translating them, and they put all their stuff up behind a paywall. And every now and then they will still post stuff for free, but it's only in Japanese. You don't get any translation, and that blew my mind. I'm like, who is getting offended by being told this is what a beginner's sketch or art would look like versus a professional or someone who's been doing this for a long time? Why would that offend someone? And it honestly blows my mind that people think this is okay to do. And it just, I couldn't believe it when I saw. I'm sitting here reading some of these tweets. I'm like, what has been going on in your life that you need to attack someone like this, make it personal, drag them, share it with people, accuse them of being, I don't even know, something that they're not, and completely ruin their presence online because you didn't like the term beginner? How disappointing of a person do you have to be to do that? And that might sound harsh, but there's really I'm not going to apologize that because it's true. There's no reason for that. Now, if you would disagree of the terminology and you didn't realize it was someone who only spoke Japanese and English wasn't their first language, and you had a critique about it, obviously a critique is fair. Like, hey, you could also use the term new artist or this or that. Just, but in reality, there was nothing wrong with the term beginner. There really wasn't. And it was just really upsetting to see because Manga Materials had amazing tutorials and help for artists, and it's just disgusting to see people treat someone like that. Artists rather, who put out, or actually anybody who puts out information of how to do anything for free doesn't owe you anything. And that also might sound harsh, but it's true. They're doing this because they enjoy what they're doing and they want to share that with other people so that they can find some joy in what they're doing as well, or to help them get started. Obviously, a lot of us are grateful for people who view it and support it and everything, but they don't owe you certain terminology to use or certain thoughts or certain anything. And I think anyone who does think that these people, including me, but I'm fine, certain viewpoints or certain terminology that needs to be used they don't belong in the art community. Specifically, if we're going to talk about the art community. And that's just my honest opinion. They don't. If you look at someone's tutorial or video or whatever it is, and they use the term beginner or some sort of terminology or anything that they're doing that personally offends you, and you feel the need to drag them to the internet because of that, when in reality it's harmless, you don't belong in the artist community. And I think people need to be a little bit more open about that. Because that's a mentality that does not belong in the artist community. And nobody has time for that. So, that's the first time I've seen this get taken to such an obscene level of, I don't even know. It was just ridiculous. It was horrible. So then, I'm like, well, maybe people have learned their lesson. Being a jerk to people who are doing this for free, who aren't even, English speakers, maybe they've grown and maybe they've realized, hey, maybe we should do this again. Well, guess what? It happened again. And this time, and of course, to another Japanese speaker. And that kind of bothers me too, because there must be some sort of envy of Japanese artists. That must be why this is happening. And I can't think of any other reason. So I'll put an image up as well. And it was basically on a lighting technique and how to shade your characters. And I thought it was pretty helpful, because I am definitely guilty of the left side where it's just flat shading and has no real light direction. I do that all the time. It's fine. It's okay to do that. And she wasn't saying, or he, or again, I don't remember. I'm sorry. They weren't saying you should never do this or you're a bad artist if you do this. Just if you want to improve your lighting, this is what you do. You pick the light source, you shade it, you blend it, and then you can actually erase and chisel out the shadows. And I thought that was a really good idea because that to me was way easier than trying to shade everything bit by bit. And I thought that was a great technique. Well, apparently everyone took offense to that, to the point that they just completely took that tweet down. And that bothered me. That they were saying the first illustration on the left was wrong and that anyone who does it is wrong and isn't an artist. They were projecting these random thoughts and putting words into their mouth that were never said. At no point did they say, hey, this is a shitty ass image, you should shade like this. At no point was that said. Just, hey, if you want to improve your skills, here's a trick to do that. I honestly could not believe my eyes seeing this happen again. And another thing I noticed, or I'm just going to assume, because I don't know how else people can spend their day sitting there, getting upset someone posted a very harmless tutorial image, and thinking that it's okay to say, you're horrible for posting this, and sending threats in their DMs and all this other stuff, to the point that they have to delete it, and they have to take a break from Twitter because of all the harassment. So it's just been something that's really been on my mind watching this unfold. And these are not the only two people that it's happened to. I'm pretty sure there's other people that have had the same feedback and the same backlash, but the bigger the artist, the more you see it. And there's probably a lot of smaller artists out there who have done this and have had that same level of, harassment, I guess you would call it. I don't even know if I would call it harassment, because it's just you're just literally taking someone and making sure that everyone knows that they're a horrible person for absolutely no reason other than this made-up scenario in your mind about who they might be and what they really meant in the words of beginner artist. Sorry, but if someone takes that personally, first of all, in my honest opinion, you are not mentally fit to be online. And you are not mentally fit to be around other people. You are not mentally fit to be participating in tutorials and learning programs if certain words trigger you that bad. People like that do not need to be online. They don't need to be in the art community. They don't need to be anywhere near any community if certain terminology is that triggering, to the point where you have to go and harass someone and send them threats. And I really think people need to start standing up to people like this and saying, you know what, if you're going to go and attack me for this, you need to seek professional help. Because it's not the tutorial maker's responsibility to make sure that your mental state does not break apart because you used the term beginner or because you decided to give a good tip on how to shade for lighting. And making them responsible for your fragile mental state is not fair. And I think it's disgusting, to be honest. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that, but it is. And it bothers me that people let this happen and they encourage it and they participate. And if you ever see any of your friends participate in any of that, like, yeah, we're going to drag this artist is horrible, they made a tutorial and they said beginner without taking into account people's personal feelings. No, they don't need to take anyone's personal feelings into account for saying beginner, because it's true. If you think you're a lesser artist because you're a beginner, that's a personal problem with you. That is not a problem with the person making that tutorial. There is nothing wrong with being a beginner artist, and no one said there was. We've all been beginner artists. We've all started somewhere. Like the sketches you're seeing, you can even see where I struggle. You know, I'm actually surprised I was even able to make something, you know, visually okay. But this is also years of practice. This is 20 plus years of practice. And I've been very honest about where I started, too. I have a video here on YouTube. You can see I was not always like this. I was never this good. But you improve as time goes on. And I still think I'm a beginner artist because there's still a lot that I struggle with. There's still a lot I can improve upon. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm okay with that. I'm going to keep trying to get better and learn and you know, embrace that challenge of getting better. That's fine with me. That's how it should be for everybody. That's what art is. That's what being an artist means. So the fact that there are people who take offense to these things, I don't think you're going to make it as an artist. Because if the term beginner and a tutorial of how to shade better bothers you on such a personal level, this isn't the field for you. And that is probably really harsh, but if you can't be open to learning or getting better, which is what being an artist is always about, is doing your best and getting better and learning. Because it's never ending struggle for an artist. It's never ending. You never stop learning. You never stop doing studies. You know, every professional artist will tell you that too. In fact, there are a ton of professional artists out there right now who don't think they're very good. Or think they need to improve on a lot of stuff. So that's kind of my rant. I've wanted to make this video for a while because I keep seeing it happen and I'm getting tired of seeing it blow up and seeing it blow up because of people in the supposed art community thinking that it's okay to do. And I completely disagree with that. I am perfectly happy with what I've said so far in this video. I'm not concerned about it being controversial. Because I don't see how someone who bullies someone to the point they have to leave Twitter for a while is okay or should be allowed to be in the art community or takes such offense to something so innocent, really. They have to act that way. I think people like that are horrible. I think it's trash, and I think what these two specific artists I brought up went through is horrible. Thankfully, they both continued to make tutorials and help people draw. That's my rant. That's just my opinion on everything and when this happens, and kind of my call. I guess if you want to call it gatekeeping, you call it gatekeeping. I don't care. But if you see this happening, just flat out tell these people. If you are offended by the term beginner or a tutorial helping you to do something and how to draw, you take it so personally you have to attack them, they don't belong here. They don't belong online. They need to seek professional help. They don't belong in the art community until they can figure their shit out and stop taking everything so personally. Because it's really not personal at the end of the day. No one said you had to follow this tutorial. No one said you had to listen to them. Or if you have constructive feedback, you know, maybe they could improve on something, and that's fine. You know, no one's saying that's not okay, but sending threats and accusing them of things they're not doing is, that's a line that's crossed. And I don't think anybody needs to be kind when that line is crossed. It's just going to keep happening until someone starts putting their foot down. So yeah, that's my ranty video. Sorry, it's a little different than normal, but it's just something I really had to it off my chest because I get tired of seeing it, and I think that behavior is honestly disgusting. And hopefully we can start reducing that behavior. I'm not expecting it to go away, but we should never encourage hate campaigns like that, I guess is what they're called now. I don't know. So, yeah, if you have any comments about this subject, leave them down below. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this before as well, and yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.